I had more fun. Like, wee! I did all the things. I went to... Shit. Before I get going too long, I didn't hit... You go, boy, talk. Good boy, talk. Good boy, little man. Love you, buddy. It was just a dumb day. I'm glad it's over and I just want to go to bed. Although I am very grateful because we did have a freaking near miss. Or a near hit. CME wise, space weather wise, according to Ben Davidson, Space Weather News, Space Observer. The sun let out a blast and we got the edge of it. If it would have hit full blown, that would have made it no, not necessarily. It would have made things it would have made things harder. Is what it would have done for a lot of people. Things are getting pretty hard for people out there. I'm happy to see communities getting together as a group of people in Nashville. I believe they see, because people are getting weather that they're not used to getting, and so they're not prepared because they're not used to getting it. But the world's changing, so what people instead of go, but now people, it doesn't matter where you live, you got to prepare for inclement. You got to prepare for all kinds of weather because the world is changing. It's different. It's not the same anymore. It's not, I'm going to go to work 9 to 5. I'm going to get my little I voted sticker. It's, those days are over. I was thinking on the porch before I started this talk that back when I was going to college, the reason why I enlisted into the Air Force, and I went to a place called Bellevue University right outside. It's basically for military members pretty much. And it's like, and then like you have people that are in the military and then they retire and then they just go get a job. Because my teacher, Ed Haynes, he was a retired military dude. He just worked in a different part than I did. I was a maintainer, and he was like in the crap part, or in like the behind the scenes part. So he told us a lot of stuff too. But we talked back. This is back in like 2003, 2004, and we were talking about the future because I went to college for IT. Business information system was my focus. I went that route because I remember getting a piece of paper and it said, okay, now what do you want where's your focus going to be? What do you want your primary like discipline and technology? Where do you want it to be? And I said, where? And then I talked with other people and what they wanted to do, and I didn't want to, and based on what these other people wanted to do, I didn't want to be in that sector because those would be my peers, not them specifically, but their personality types. And I didn't want to hang out with people like that. So I didn't want to go robotics, and I didn't want to go intelligence artificial. I didn't want nothing to do with any of that. So I went support because that's my role. I like fixing shit. I like being hands-on, and God, I know how to do a lot of shit, and a lot of people don't know how to do a lot. A lot of people don't know how to do jack shit, and I know how to do a lot of shit, but whatever. Anyway, so we would talk about what, like, World War III would, the next World War, and it's just going to be about who can get whose shit. Like, who can get whose technology, who can break whose code, who's going to get whose bombs. It's just whatever lunatic does the most coke, they're going to come up with the more freaking crazy, notorious, insane shit. How many military, how many old dudes just went and just like were sitting around one day drinking a bunch of whiskey and they're like, let's go bomb these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Really those motherfuckers didn't do anything. They're just sitting at their home barbecuing with their families, and then these spirits invade people's minds and thoughts and encourage them to do devious demonic things. And I'm a peaceful person. I'm aggressive. Doesn't mean I'm not a peaceful person. There's a difference, because I'm adamant about safety and a lot of time and manners, both of those things. And so when when there's a then fun time's over. Let's learn lessons. School's in session. And so, I know the energy is aggressive. I'm having a real hard time tempering my own down. And like today, I go into town. I was going to get my breaker bar, get the extension. I couldn't buy just one. And it's like I have this stuff and I can't find it. I can't. It's like, I don't know. Maybe. I just am so tired of buying things that I've bought before, and tools is one of them. And so I'm frustrated, and I look intentionally and I still can't find them. So I went and spent freaking Harbor Freight, spent like $44 on. Do you know what Harbor Freight is, Ma? It's a store where they sell tools. Yeah. They're not Snap-on. No, they're not Snap-on, but so I got the extension, the breaker bar, and then brought it home, and then went to put the ratchet on the bolt because I got the bolt off, and then the one on the left, and I went back, and then there was another one on the right, and so I went to get that one, and my socket isn't a deep well, so I just went tink tink, and I was like, oh my fucking god, because it wouldn't go over the bolt, because it's a little short socket, and I needed a deep well where the bolt can go up inside it. They have like a hole in the middle where bolts, so yeah, it can go, yeah. And so I'd already gone into town, and I wasn't in, and I can only blame myself for not looking. And like, okay, I'm better about that. So, I'm only human. I can't account for everything, because I have learned to have to do that, because the closest store to get parts is like 12 miles. So it's just like, and I was so spoiled being in the Air Force, because I could just go over to bench stock and say, we had toolboxes everywhere, and what we didn't have in the toolbox, we had special tools back in bench stock, and that's where my weird kid seed planted, that I want to give access to the bottom tier of people with my travel centers, is people that don't have money. It's like, yeah, come crash, Marge's place, and if your car's broken, get it fixed, or, usually people travel here through Taos. A lot of people, oh my gosh, there's this one person, people post ads on like affordable housing and stuff like that. And this one woman posted an ad. She wants to come from the Pacific Northwest, and she's like, going on and on and on. Did I get a screenshot? Oh, that's a recipe. Did I get a screenshot of that interlude? Oh my god, it was brutal. And because they don't like outsiders. Small places are typically like that. Big places are like that. Places where people that have roots, you know what I mean? People don't like outsiders. We've been the outsider a lot. But see, I got a taste of what the insider life was like, because when I'd go see Grandma, everyone knew who Grandma was. Yeah. She was Edith Hessick, little blue-haired, curly-haired woman, right?
She was a small woman.
She was taller than us, but anyway, so I got, I know what it's like. And when I knew the right people in Omaha, I knew what it was like. And then I found out that, people are only acting like they liked me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm slow, man, because I believe people. I believe people. I'm not gonna if I don't like you, I'm not gonna pretend like I like you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to myself. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, we're just gonna okay. You know? Even if I don't like somebody, I'll help them. I don't have to like people to help them, and people get that twisted all day long, every day. Yo? You're stuck on the side of the road with a flat tire. I don't like you. I'll still pull over and help you change your tire, teach you how, and we'll have a teaching moment at that time too, because I'll teach you how to do it for yourself. So it'll work out. But yeah, I'm not gonna. And a lot of those people will just fake it. That's like when I hear people talk about how nice people are in certain parts of the country. I'm like, dude, they're not. They're only. Okay, moving on now. Thanks for coming. People do not like outsiders. They don't. And this woman freaking. Oh, I found it. Blessings be beloved ones. They made it an anonymous participant because they did this before, and I think they just reamed her. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's too long. Because it's like, after feeling the call from the land for almost 5 years, I'm closing a beautiful full 10-year chapter in the P&W and headed to New Mexico to nest a new cycle. I'll be arriving the first few days of February, and I'm calling in. And these are her criteria of all the things that she's calling in. And what she is: an alchemist, channel, writer, prayer form dancer, author of the CPR deck, an emotional intelligence deck of cards for all ages. I'm also a leader and space holder for various circles such as shamanic drummings, stuff like that. Oh, there's a 7.0 earthquake today, too. Yeah. And then there were landslides in Paso Robles the other day. That popped up. That kind of tripped me out. Anyway, it says, if you have any leads or would like to discuss, I'm excited to get to know the land, you beautiful people in New Mexico, and gratitude and grace. Right? And then there's a picture of her with their drum on the beach and her stick and stuff. And this girl says, please don't bother coming. We already have a plethora of fake-ass worthless hippies grifting the place up. That's what this chick said. And I looked at her account, and she is from East Hemet, California. So she's not even, born and raised here. I think it's funny that we're here because it is not the place. This place was never on my radar, but we just always follow my heart, which is what God told me. And we end up 10 miles from where Mom was born, and then put up from adoption. Then we met her first cousin since we've been here. That's not that happens every day. These aren't real good stories or nothing. So oh, Michael Hutchins, that's why because it's his birthday. That's why people are talking. I saw NXS in Sacramento. Anyway, I've seen a lot of shows. I like the excitement and then the people, and then the experience and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of shows. That's why I called today's talk when I saw Taylor Swift, because now she's so ginormous. I mean, she was pretty popular then. I saw her October 10th, 2015 in Omaha. And she was coming to town, and she wasn't on my radar. It wasn't I wasn't a big Taylor Swift fan. I just started listening to that album that had Shake It Off on it. So I do, and I got dumped. I got broken up with out of a 3.5 year relationship ended. And so I listened to the Shake It, the whole album. I like Taylor Swift. I just like, I mean, anyway. So I often tell people she helped me through a breakup because of that album. And then she was coming to Omaha, and I worked at the place I worked. I mean, all my bills were paid. I had some money in the bank. So what I would do at that time is I'm always led by my heart. I'm always led by most of the 90% of the time led by my heart. And what I would do is I would look the day of. So the day of the show, what Ticketmaster used to do, I don't know if it's still common practice for them to do that, but they hold back a bunch of tickets for like people's friends and stuff like that, right? In the front rows. And then on the day of, or they like get a list of people, like, you know, of like companies that pay for good seats, stuff. It's the club seats, right? And then if people don't give the tickets, then they'll release the tickets the day of. And they're not gonna freaking, you know, make you, so they're at a reasonable price. So I actually got a front row, general admission. It was a space probably about the size of my kitchen. And I think after like Ticketmaster prices and all that stuff, it was $273. And I got, and because I was like, okay, if I can get a ticket reasonably priced for under $300, I go, but I'm not willing to pay more than $300 because that's just stupid. And then like now people are paying like tens and thousands of dollars to go see her, you know? Like that's the thing, is like, man, there's too many people that don't have freaking places to live, a roof, a place to shelter. They don't got shelter from cold. People are fucking, there's people under the snow in Tennessee dead because the homeless got hit and they didn't know it was surprise, you know, and they were like, fucking, we don't have sleeping bags. They like, churches didn't let them in. It's freaking bullshit, man. It's like, but I was really happy to see the community getting together, like chipping on ice in Nashville, you know, because that's what's going to happen. Because the cities and the counties and stuff, they're not putting the money into the resources. They're putting money in shiny cars and their pay increases. They're, you know, and their letterhead and their parades and the fun stuff, and they're not doing the work. So we're seeing the direct response. I looked it up last night, there's only 150 snowplows in the whole state of New Mexico. 150. The budgets of this state are in the millions, maybe billions. Like if I go through the big businesses, which I've done before, because I have nothing but time to do research, so I've done it. You know, the only thing that's changed is the numbers have only gone up. Like you go through like the annual budgets for the U.S. Forest Service, who started the largest fire in New Mexico history 2 years ago, and the people who lost their whole lives and their history and everything, still they're like, we don't, you know, they still didn't get compensation. And I know that's a $1 billion company. So the karma's coming, man. The shift is happening. I am going to be happy to see people taking care of people more. So maybe people will be more willing to accept my experience in life. Yeah, we're good at it. You want to stay warm on a low budget? Put freaking plastic on the windows. Put blanket on the windows because they're induction. Keep the cold out. You know, because we live in a trailer. I'll go out there and I'll move the curtain in the morning. There's ice on the window, man. We stay pretty warm, huh? We're pretty cozy. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Next place we get, it's gonna be. We're gonna have a wood stove. We're gonna have a wood stove. I'll just split wood, make wood, and I'll bring bundles around to people, elderly people in the community. That's the thing that frustrates me, man. There's so much money in Taos. There's so many people that have a lot of money in this community. They're just tight ass because they're insecure people, and insecure people are, they got it cling and mine it's security, and the world is getting terrible, and it's like, dude, you want to keep getting the abundance that you have in life, you got to give it away sometimes, man. In grandiose ways. Grand important. The only reason why I brought the whole Taylor Swift thing up is because a reel came up today. Let's see. This came up. These are pictures that I got of her when I saw. That was the same day. That was the dogs in the backyard when they were fat and puppies. That was the outfit I wore. I got there early I got there like an hour early because I wanted to take pictures. That was her microphone that she's used at every show for however how long. It was pretty cool. That sucks. But the pictures are great. I like that. The reason why I used the thumbnail is because the kid's looking at me. The dancer was looking at me, and I thought that was cool. I should later, after we go settle in for the evening, I should figure out who he is, because he's one of her main dancers. It shouldn't take that much to figure out who he is, and then I could tag him.
That's a good idea.
I bet he would like to see that. I think people like to see pictures of themselves that they've never seen before.
I think they would.
I like to offer that gesture to folks.
That's a good tip.
It's just a real easy thing that you can do. So today, one of the reasons why I got a text message this morning at like 8 o'clock from this appointment, this third-party call center that sets up appointments for the VA, because the VA can't be bothered to make their own appointments. And so the ladies, it's for my back, my spine, and my ankle, the x-rays, right? They're x-rays. They want me, and the twice before, for other appointments, when I talked about my availability, both women read me this big old long script. One woman read it like twice. Maybe because I think that like they say if you interrupt that you got to start. I don't know. It's weird. But they read this big old long thing saying that you'll get to go within 50 miles. Want to go in here, bud? Want to go in here?
Good boy.
You can go. Come here. Come here.
Good boy.
We'll go to bed soon. Come here. Over here. Come here. Little boy. Good dog. Right here. Right here. Come on. I know you don't like the light, bud. Come on. Little boy. Here. Okay. I don't know. Fuck it. What was I talking about? No, you can't go up there. What was I talking about? I don't remember what I was talking about. That sucks. I hate that. So the shift is gonna change. The necessity that people's hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it, it's gonna shift. It's gonna just shift. It's not any different than any other time. It's just gonna shift. I think if somebody wants your stuff, they're gonna take it. Like if somebody cares enough, like if somebody wants to cause you harm, they're gonna do it, right? Ma, what are you doing? Yeah, go lay down over there, good boy. I'm gonna turn off that light. There you go, bud. There you go, buddy. Good boy. Good boy, handsome man. Old man. And that's what we talked about when like it's not gonna be like, well, I don't know, but look on the city streets now. It's already people blowing people up, it's already people shooting them up. It's already, I just was listening to a little while on I was listening to that astrologer guy, and he does a sports show on Mondays, and I just can't be bothered with, sports is just such a, it's just a, like I said all the time, man, there's just too many people that don't have socks and need dental care. You know what I mean? Yeah. For that to exist, but people like abuse, and people like to see the violence, and and causing harm, and I just think that's just gross. Yeah. I just think hurting people is like you can't just freaking walk up to somebody, or like you can't see somebody on the street and tackle them. But it's okay if you put on a bunch of gear and charge somebody, charge people $100 for a ticket to come watch, as long as a little leather balls involved, Yeah. And but they always feel so sorry for the athlete that's like drooling on himself and his head's bobbing, and it's just like, he fucking played a game, dude. That's what he get, I mean, like, what do these guys ever do for fucking humanity? I all day long on social media, I see, because I don't care about sport. I don't know why they're even on any of my feeds. But they're there. And then I just get to mark, show less, show less. Maybe because Taylor Swift was in it. Who knows? I don't follow her or anything like that. But, one of the players on one of the teams had his brother, and his brother was just retired from the NFL and was cutting loose, hanging out, having a good time with the fans, right? Where's the footage of him this morning? And how his day went? You know what I mean? Because I bet he wasn't, or the next morning, whenever the game was. I don't know what day it is. I don't know when the game was. Because it's the playoff games. But alcohol makes people do things. It takes people to places that they wouldn't really want to take themselves if they weren't in the passenger seat, because that's where alcohol puts you. And I just saw, I saw a dude having a good time, but I also saw a man out of control too. How many times did I say when I was a kid, I see that. Now, I'm not saying, he seems like a cool guy. I see he and his brother, they'll talk show will come across, and they'll start to talk. I'm just like, I can't. It's not my world, man. I'm down here on fucking planet Earth. I'm not in this fantasy world. where people are they don't have time for other people. Like, God, man, we're gonna have to make provisions because the earth is changing, and the sun keeps flashing, going, "Hey, you better start taking care of each other. Hey, it's only a matter of time before things start lining up, and hey, we want everyone to be okay, right?" I mean, even all these freaking a-hole freaking billionaires with their bunkers. Everybody's building a bunker, which incidentally I think is really funny considering so many places are flooding. San Diego, San Francisco. And once all these places that are getting all these snowstorms with all these 4 feet, 6 feet snow drifts, people aren't even thinking about what's going to happen to the river with the ice dams. I remember when this happened back in 2019, and off at my old shop that I worked at Offutt Air Force Base got flooded. They moved out of a really cool place, a really cool shop, into a place that did not even make sense. But that's because see, what military officers are no different than CEOs in companies. The decisions that they make are very impractical. They're usually made based on conversations at like the officers' clubs and stuff like that. Bad decisions. Some people's children. So the place they move it into, it had no, like, because we hauled freaking air conditioners the size of bedrooms by big, ginormous, look them up. Aircraft air conditioners. That's what we service. That's what we'd fix, and then we haul around and take them to the airplanes, because most of the time the planes aren't flying, so they're doing scheduled and non-scheduled maintenance. And so they needed all of our equipment to do that maintenance. And then in the winter, when they're doing the maintenance, it gets freaking butt-ass cold on those planes. So we'd always have to provide the heaters and in the summer air conditioners too, because they're basically in a tin can with wings held on by 3 bolts. Yes. The wing of an aircraft is only held on by... People who be going on vacation, they'd be all like, they'd be like, yeah, I'm a nervous flyer. And I'm like, are you nervous because the wings are only held on by 3 bolts? They'd be like, Margie, shut up, don't say that to me. And I'd say, don't worry, they're really long bolts. They're really long bolts. But yeah, I remember the day I learned that lesson. Hope somebody tightened those 3 bolts today. And now everywhere I see all these, I get a lot of like with all the stuff that's happening with airplanes, because people aren't doing the work, man. They skate. They don't think like, man, I really should check this rivet because there's people's lives that depend on this. Loose hardware. If this wire's like starting to burn, smelling hot, because people don't consider the dust that builds up just from human bodies. DNA dander gets on components. Components usually have grease on them for lubricate, for induction and stuff like insulation, right? That collects dust and stuff. You get enough dust. Everything has a flash point. Everything... Just so many things can be prevented if people just put their eyes on it to see. But who's going to do it? That's what autistic people are for. That's what, like, people that aren't good in society, like me, give us that tedious little shit. That's what sometimes Capricorns and Virgos. Let us do that. Hey, Kevin. Sometimes. But, it's 7:20, Ma. It's almost time to go cuddle in. Want some mom. That just kills me. AA on TV. And it's so freaking accurate, too. It's like having meetings for me. That, you know, I find comfort in it. I miss the camaraderie. Like I always had some place to go, and then it's like, hey, wait a minute. How come I'm always going and doing all this? You know, I thought it was rotation to service, and I keep doing the same stuff. But whatever. Got me in the habit of service work, doing things forever for other people. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to the runoff. Like even in see, because especially in places where there's a lot of fire in the last couple years, where the vegetation hasn't started growing back and stuff like that, and then all the snow and ice is going to start running off, so there's going to be more landslide. There are landslides. I get notifications all the time with my disaster alert app, and so I mean, like, I'll see them come up. And then occasionally, every now and again, I'll see in my reels where there's a landscape, and then I can remember, you know, okay, I saw that one. I remember when that happened, and people put out the footage, and recently there was a big one, and it took out like cities in China, you know. And when shit like this happens, borders don't matter. And I see these dudes walking around the hill, like I remember in my life when I was younger and events would happen, there would be like hundreds of people like on an event, right? There are these like 5 guys meandering around a hillside, like kicking rocks, like, you know, like, do you not think anybody's alive? Like no kind of urgency, you know what I mean? I mean, of course, I don't know the whole entire situation and the circumstances, but I just think that what's coming up in this next chapter, man, it doesn't matter about borders, right? Now, I see what they're doing with that dude at the border. You know, don't you know who I am? Okay, and I've talked about this before. Anybody, I don't care who they are. Anybody that says, don't you know who I am? What I do is I see people in frequencies. That's how I see people. I clump them all up with other people that I've known like them in history. And where's I going with that? And so, people that say, don't you know who I am? They are people I don't want to know. And I never care who they are. Like, the things that I say to people are things that I think that people should know. I give a crap less about people's titles. Titles are things that people give themselves with their entitlements. Has not to do with me. When I was in the Air Force, my plaque back here, it's not even Airman Hess. I never went by 6 years. People didn't call me Airman Hessick, except when I got DUI and I got called to the carpet for administrative shit. That was the only time. And I'd be like, call me Marge, you know. I always went by Marge. They spelled my name wrong on my plaque because I spell it with an E, but whatever. You spent 6 years with so many people but, you know, you go to war with people, but anyway. I gave a lot of good advice. That's what people signed on the back of my plaque. Thanks for all the good talks and all the good advice, you know. Because people would come to me and tell me, you know, how they'd want to cheat on their wives, and then oftentimes they'd come and profess how they did. They call it, TDY, because they just go on TDY and people just screw around. That's why my brother went to Iraq. He was an Army JAG. It's not because of, like, war crimes are done. No, it's because people are get fucking drunk and do stupid shit. Is Iraq a dry country? But Saudi's a dry country, and I've unloaded equipment from Saudi that had booze in it. So it doesn't matter. Rules, regulations, policies, procedures, there's always people that are so important that they don't have to abide by the rules. So what I do, I go through life and I'm like, well, you know, at some point you don't go by. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to be like you. I'm you know. It's now rules that are related to safety are very significant to me. I'm big on safety. I'm big on safety. So, what, stupid shit? And there's a lot of stupid shit. There's so much stupid shit going on in the world. We are coming to a place that you're going to have to decide if you care about other human beings or not. And live accordingly. I see so many people getting their cabin, getting a farm, moving on taking mine, running off into the hills, doing my own. How is that going to benefit all these people? There's so many people on this planet, man. They are they don't know where to go. They don't have the mental capacity to take care of themselves. Like, they were born to junkies. They're born to drunks. You know? They don't have any examples of good orderly direction. I see freaking make places where people want to go. And make environments where people want to be agreeable. Where where people that don't want more than they need just are so happy and grateful for what they have. It's so hard to contend. It is so hard to live in this world for people that just don't want to do all the stupid stuff and pay all the stupid stuff that people want me to do to go along with what they want me to do. The green lights started flashing on the power box. We'll be in a minute, baby girl. Friday night, after the Kit Carson Electric Cooperative, the CEO makes like $246,000 a year. Makes my fucking eyeball twitch. Anyway. That's for another story. But, oh boy, neighbor likes to fuck with the power box. Okay? And he's tripped my power, I don't know how many times. And I'm just like, fuck! Right? Because it's just disruptive. And then, if he does it when I'm in... Because I've come home and mom's just sitting in the dark. Sitting because the power is out. Or the power is tripped and she don't know how to turn the TV back on. She'll just sit there with the dogs. But when things like when it's hot, stuff like that, it's just inconvenient. I just want to have my place, where we have our amenities, but in very close proximity. I want to have places where people can fix their shit, do their laundry, take a shower, do some fellowship, cook some food, have a community kitchen, Because that is one thing I have learned in this life. I wanted to do it by myself. It is not my calling. It is not my purpose. My purpose is to help guide and help out people when they need it. That's what my purpose is. And I'm here to teach, too, There's so many travelers, young people on the road, that need to learn how to fix their own shit because it's so much cheaper than all the maintenance facilities around here. I got freaking frustrated because So it's another trip to town tomorrow, but that's all right. I got to go into town tomorrow anyway. Sometimes I feel like I used to like that. See, that is such a freaking trip. All these movies when I was a little girl, I loved all these movies and all these TV shows. And now I'm a grown up. These actors that played these characters, I can't I tried to watch Beetlejuice, and I was like, oh shit, that's Alec Baldwin. I can't fucking stand Alec Baldwin. And he got indicted again, and it's just another case of, ooh, oh, justice? No. It's just all theatrics. And a woman lost her life, and it's bullshit, and it's unfair. And well, we're coming into the age of Aquarius, so things are gonna get weird. Not like they haven't been weird for us our whole entire freaking lives, huh, Ma? Things have been pretty freaking weird for us. Like, people haven't done us a whole lot of favors, like, intentionally. Yet, that set us on the course that God had for us instead. Right? All these people are being shown for who they are. Like, who didn't know P. Diddy was a scumbag? Who didn't know? I don't think I ever listened to any of his music. Beyonce, Jay-Z, don't listen to their music. I did listen to Rihanna when I was younger, so I have some of her stuff. I saw her when she was 19 years old at the minimum. I think it's probably before she sold her soul. I like the charge, the electricity of the crowd. I've gone to some shows. My first show was Primus. In Chico University. And then after that, I was 15. We went to a bar. 15 and a half. But I always look, I don't know. I don't know. They let me in, and then some dude kept freaking bumping into me. And I was like, and the bar wasn't that busy, but I was watching Eskimo, a band called Eskimo, on the stage. And it was a really cool show. And I was just like really into this band Eskimo. And this guy was like doing this, and I finally was like, dude, stop running into me. Like, stop hitting me, man. Like, bubble, like personal, shit. And then I looked at him, and I was like, it's just like I kept my mouth closed. And then my friends later confirmed what I suspected, that it was Les Claypool. And I just watched him in the band Primus at the show, at the concert. So I was just like, wow, that was kind of a cool thing. I didn't have any conversation with them or anything like that. Then they had like a small venue in Omaha where it was, okay, girl, where Soko. That's where I saw Social Distortion. And then I saw they had different segments of they were for different they had different parts of the building for different bands. I saw Tegan and Sarah down below, and was sitting at the table next to him before the show started. They were young. That was like 2007. So yeah, I've seen a lot of shows. I don't have the desire to see shows much anymore because I'm a lot more careful about my energy. I'm a lot more. The last show I saw, my brother got mad at me because I was like, okay, I have this much money. I said, okay, this is like the last thing I'm going to do. Because I already knew what the astrology had in store for me, and it was going to be hunkering down. I didn't know it had in store for me to move from freaking Salem, Oregon to Taos, New Mexico, and all that came with that by myself. That was interesting. Well, me and some Earth Angels, but that was hard. That's all in my stories. But the last show I saw was Lady Gaga. And I did like one of those VIP tickets. It was like $600, $700, something like that. 600, and it was in Tacoma. And I got pictures. That was during the time my head was like all the way shaved. And I was watching this show on Netflix. I still had Netflix, and this beautiful dark-skinned woman reminded me of a character on the show. I can't remember the show that I watched. And so I was telling her about the show, and I was just like, you know, I think you would like it because the lead character is a strong woman. And I just think that you could relate. And so like she, and then after we had this brief conversation, because it was like the VIP, but not where I met her. It was like where they brought you into a room and you got to eat, and they give you 2 drink tickets before the show, and then they escort you to your, you know, the show kind of thing. And so the woman that I spoke with, she brought out water for her and like her fellow employees, and then she's like, here you go. She's like, kick me down a water. She's like, no, they're not. I said, oh, you want me to go hand? And she's like, no, it's not that kind of party. Like, they're not for everybody. What, she gave me a water. And then on the way in, once we started moving through the line, she came up, because with my ticket thing, I got a little see-through Lady Gaga backpack. I gave it to these sisters that were teachers that they were so excited. I gave it to them. It wasn't that important to me. It was important to them. But she grabbed me by that, and then she put this wrist, she said, here, come with me, and put this wristband on me, and which gave me access to the main floor. And then I was there super duper early, and then when I went in, I got pictures of Lady Gaga's mom and Bradley Cooper, because they just wrapped up that jazz singer movie 2 days before, so he went with her to go. So I mean, it's like when people want to, they'll let, if they like you, they'll let anybody do what they want. There's like advantages to that. For some reason, people don't like me, and it's made the advantages very difficult. Nepotism has never done me any favor. Never. So I did get a call about the appointment today, and they wanted it in Albuquerque. And the woman I talked to said, I can't go that far. They know this. I mean, I've had this conversation so many times. I tell your boss to call me. I'll tell them where their system's broke in every area. You know, it's the tech, it's the people, it's their not willing to go a little farther to help somebody out, you know? I'm so tired of people screwing over the people in their community for some bucks for multi-billion-dollar companies that don't give a fuck. And I'm talking about that government, too. Circumvent. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Thanks for hanging out. That's about all I've got for now. Hope you have a rad